of it. We're in a... Well, who knew? Who knew we're going blind pick? It's the new meta for the European LCS.
And there's Anivia.
They've gone with every champion that they're hoping to get, but we'll see how it works out.
MF support.
That's going to get remade. Well done, whoever made that game and set that one up. Taco Storm.
I believe it was Taco Storm. Yeah.
I'm looking at you, buddy.
Oh, man.
So that game is going to get reset. Sadly, I don't think we're going to see Anivia for Frog.
No, and
probably
MF support,
not going to happen.
no. Well, it gives us some time at least to talk about I'm just going to join the game over here. To talk about the picks and ban phase, actually. Twisted Fate might be a possible ban for ROCCAT if they don't know how to deal with it from Frog's side. Or we could potentially see the likes of Pantheon or Talon mid for Overpower if he feels like he has some counter ready for the Twisted Fate.
We'll see how it works out. Will we see the AD carries? Will Caitlyn be that focus? Of course, yesterday, as we mentioned, we've seen non-stop Sullivan going towards Lucian as the AD carry. Well, Tabs already knows the counter to that. He saw SK doing the exact same thing yesterday. He was just like, I'll take Caitlyn, and that seemed to work very well yesterday.
And it works if Lucian decides to build the same.
Yeah.
If he builds Infinity Edge into Trinity Force and Infinity Edge into Static Shift, and he doesn't get a good start, he won't really get the power spike against Caitlyn, where he's going to be stronger in these mid-game team fights. Therefore, the Caitlyn pick will outscale him and just do more in the late-game fights. It's what we saw yesterday, where Tabs played Caitlyn. So if it's the same matchup, I want to see Selava change up his build, unless, again, he gets a perfect start, gets a lot of gold early on, then he can go towards Infinity Edge.
Earlier on, we talked about how Renekton was in every single game. He actually only won one of them, if I recall, which was
Wicked
when Wicked played it against the Jax. But talking about career, the fact that they've moved to the Mobility Power Champions, maybe it's stronger because the Dawn's Blade's been nerfed and taken down a little bit.
Changed,
Wicked doesn't adopt that well to these sort of things.
True. I think Renekton could also be a ban. Both top laners want him.
He has already proven he can play KL. We'll see whether it gets through. Twisted Fate Morgana being banned out. Morgana, I think, banned out almost every game yesterday. I'd have to fact check that one. Ziggs also taken away. We'll see how that works out for him.
So Twisted Fate, ROCCAT clearly doesn't feel like they have a counter pick ready, so they ban it away from Froggen, and also Renekton actually towards Wicked here. So Jax is open, should be the choice then for Sasus. Is a bit harder to play Jax now, but we can talk more about it once we actually see the matchup.
Yeah, Renekton and, as you mentioned, Jax being picked up. That means, well, we'll see what he falls back to. Will it be Shyvana for him? With that KO taken away, it's actually locked Wicked in a bit of a bind. He does know Aurelia versus Jax matchup.
Aurelia,
that's a possibility.
So 4.9, it was a bit of a hard matchup for Aurelia, but there was outplay potential. Wicked, of course, is a guy who knows Aurelia in and out here. In 4.10, where sustain means more, Aurelia actually is going to be a very good champion because she has her own built-in sustain.
Fast lock-ins coming through. We did see, of course, Nami being picked up for Nif. We saw how effective Nami has become as almost the de facto go-to support now that Morgana gets taken out there. Lee Sin for Shook. We've seen Shook doing some amazing Lee Sin plays over the time. But a very, very fast lock-in for Lulu for ROCCAT this time around.
Yeah, so we've actually seen Lulu top lane a few times for Sasus, but this time around with Jax, it should either be for support, don't expect it, or just mid lane for overpower here. I feel like he really wants to pick Lulu, and then maybe go heavy late game for ROCCAT, and then you have Lulu with all the utility, and you have a Jax and now a Caitlyn logged in, just going crazy in the late game here. So Alliance need to look for either some very strong laners and try and shut down ROCCAT early on, or want to try and counter the late game themselves.
So big change for Sullivan. However, if memory serves correctly, Caitlyn used to be his main champion before Lucian became predominant. This is the first time in a long time, though, that he's obviously taken an AD carry over Lucian when it's available.
And it really shows how strong these AD carries in Europe think Caitlyn is at the moment, and how much they think they can do for her. And the Caitlyn thing is always, you're strong in the laning phase, then your mid game is kind of meh, but then your late game is very, very strong once again. So you have kind of this spike up and down here. And if Tabs locks in this Cockmore, I actually think it's a very strong pick at 4.10.
Indeed, and speaking of 4.10, over in Korea this morning, Cockmore was banned out heavily.
Yeah. So the thing is, he's one of the only AD carries who's not affected by the changes because he didn't build Bloodthirster anyway, and he swapped it around. So it's going to be Lucian. Let's see how he decides to build him.
Soon. And again, Thresh available and choosing to go around it. Thresh would have worked very well, but instead Lucian, and let's not forget, Wicked's Aurelia is in there.
Yeah, so he did pick the Aurelia into Jax. Again, it was a matchup in favor of Jax. However, there was always room for outplay for Aurelia. If you dodge around the counter-strike from Jax, and then once it's actually down, you go towards him, you activate your or your W, and you just destroy him for a few seconds where he won't be able to hit back on you, and therefore Irelia can actually outplay the Jax. And then, of course, with the sustain changes, benefits her.
Jankos may well be falling to the champion that's worked the best for him, honestly, during the spring split, which was Elise. And of course, Vander, with Thresh available, is choosing to go Leona. So Thresh really seems to have fallen away from favor for the supports.
Overall, I actually think there's just a lot of viable supports at the moment, and it depends on the player itself, who he wants to play. This time around, ROCCAT are looking at their comp and saying, so we have Caitlyn, we have Jax, we have Lulu. So we already actually have some potential to dive in with Jax and Lulu with Wild Growth. Let's add in another champion who can join in and just jump on the lines, destroy them as soon as possible in these fights here. So they have Leona going in with Jax, with Wild Growth. You have multiple options now to engage fights for ROCCAT, but still, they really want to go to this late game point with both Jax and Caitlyn.
Well, it's been a long time since I saw Froggen playing Orianna. Faker played it this morning. Maybe he got inspired by that. I know for a fact Froggen watches just about every little bit of League of Legends he can, along with playing it. And of course, what do we think? Okay, take up the two team comps. ROCCAT actually have a pretty damn good one, but so do Alliance.
Yeah, Alliance doing the same thing here. They didn't want to risk having to win early on, so they picked very strong late game champions themselves. Irelia, often people will say she's actually better in late game teamfights than Jax, but Jax is better at one-on-one split pushing here. So teamfight wise, Alliance will look very strong for late game. Also with Orianna scaling up so well to the late game point. And also with a very good early game actually, Orianna should be able to outfarm Lulu in a one-on-one lane. Therefore, Alliance looking very good with the picks here and adapting to what ROCCAT were picking, because ROCCAT showed very early on with both Jax, Caitlyn and Lulu, they were really looking for some late game points here.
And both of the top laners keeping that teleport on as well. So, which team had the best picks? Tweet at LOL Esports with hashtag ROCKWin or hashtag AllWin, and we'll check out the results from in the game. Overall, Alliance, of course, were 79% favored coming into this game. What do we think? Do you think they got a 79% advantage in that pick and ban phase?
Well, I definitely like the teamfight setup for them late game. With Irelia, with Orianna, both so strong in teamfights, and of course Lucian, who can be safe by himself. Add in Nami, double CC. I mean, there's a lot of options for them to both start fights here, but also overall just outplay ROCCAT in the teamfights. And ROCCAT, of course, can split push with the Jax if they get to this late game point. If not, then I think Alliance definitely is in charge of the game.
Well, of course, we saw ROCCAT's win streak get taken down yesterday by SK Gaming. That was a 4-game win streak. Alliance are on, I believe, a 5-game win streak of their own, of course, since they lost to Gambit a few weeks back and broke that record. We'll see if they can set any new ones, but at the moment, ROCCAT are in their way. They're 11-2 at the top of the table, but ROCCAT are desperate for victories. They said themselves they're really only aiming for 4th place in the table. They're going to have to keep getting some wins to try and sustain that spot that currently Millennium and Fnatic hold. So, Alliance setting out. No incredibly new stuff coming out from either team. No wards actually being picked up early on here. We'll see whether they do try and get those early wards in. Surprise, surprise, Shook and Jankos find each other and block the ward placement.
So both top laners actually starting with Doran's Blade, even though it was changed. So now it gives lifesteal instead of HP per hit. And it's a big deal for the top lane bruisers, because normally you got 5 HP back per hit. This is a lot early game compared to lifesteal. You need 167 AD before you get 5 HP back per hit. Which means Doran's Blade late game is good, but in the early stages you have a lot less sustain, and it should be in favor of Wicked because he's Irelia, he can heal it by himself, where Xaxus will need to auto attack a lot more than before to actually sustain himself.
5 gold advantage for Shook there as he smited down one of those little spiders. It was 5 gold that he picked up. Yes, it was.
It's about sending a message.
It's sending a message. I took out your little spider. So, will they go for an invade? That is the question. You can see Xaxus and Jankos up here in the top. They do have, of course, Wicked in there. And actually, there's movement from Shook. I'm wondering if he's going to stick around. No. I think he's trying to sell a dummy by walking past that ward and going down.
And we also need to see this bot lane matchup here, because Nami will automatically make your AD carry very strong in trades, because you put the E onto your AD carry, he gets the extra damage on auto attacks here. And of course, Vander and Leona, he needs to go all in if he wants to actually go in and poke or start a fight. He can't just sit back and poke like Nami can do, or like Taps can do with the E from Nami. So therefore, if Alliance can dodge around and make sure they don't get hit by Vander, they should be able to poke onto Silva quite a lot.
So, Jankos is starting out. That red buff. Meanwhile, of course, you do see this bottom lane pairing. Silva and Vander, they've had a good pairing, and honestly, ROCCAT used to be so nailed on at getting first blood. We'll see how Tabs and Nif deal with them on this Lucian-Nami combo. So far, it seems that ROCCAT are the ones to push forward, of course, trying to get that level 2 first, which is all important for AD carries.
Yeah, and we saw just Leona go down with her E as first spell and just use it through all the minions as soon as the wave arrived, so Caitlyn could just clear it and they could actually get the push going. However, it's going to be about the next few minions going down here who gets the early level 2.
We'll see how Tabs builds, of course, on this Lucian setup. See whether that tower hit's going to take it down. One is going to finish off that, no problem. CS-wise, very even between these two. No differential. Big differential in the top lane, however, is between Xaxus and Wicked. It's 11 and 4 already. Wicked is going to clear out that wave on the tower, but he's already far behind against his Jax.
Yeah, so both top lane and bot lane here for ROCCAT pushing very hard early on. Xaxus went straight to the minions, did the same thing, just pushed it in, got the early level 2, so Wicked were forced to go back to his tower and just wait for the minions to arrive so he could pick them up here. Means he lost a few minions under the tower, and Xaxus with a very good start so far on Jax.
He's making sure he keeps himself even. We'll have to keep our eye on this as it develops and see how they're going to skill out. Wicked, of course, was fairly vocal when I believe it was Darian that played Aurelia up against a Jax before, and he said it's really a tricky matchup, so I'm interested to see how it develops. You also saw him in the video, of course, last week saying, I am very worried about this Jax pickup. And again, he's going to have to face it. We see both junglers in this mid lane. They're looking to set up for ganks.
And we often see Shook go mid early on. He wants to get Frocking going as fast as possible. And Overpower pushing the lane very far up here again. ROCCAT playing very aggressive in the lanes. Opening up for Shook to try and set up a gank if he wants to. Jankos, though, up in his top lane. Wicked is now the guy pushing.
Unseen in the tri-bush. Wicked actually heading down. Careful. Oh, he's well out of position now. Puts the ward down. Jankos is definitely going to force going towards it. Xaxus is playing this one very coy. That counter-strike will land. The stun comes in. The cocoon comes in. He's going to try and use the blade surge onto Jankos. Jankos comes through. Wicked's well.
They get it!
No, he survived!
Suddenly back the wave!
Stuns him in tower range, and they didn't have the follow-up. Wicked should have gone down there. Great play.
Xaxus thought he was already dead. I actually think he thought Jankos could get the last hit, but then Wicked stuns Jankos. Xaxus already backed away, so didn't manage to get the first blood here. Now Wicked can teleport back to lane. Only lost a few minions, and the flash, of course.
And he's also got double Doran's Blade now in that top lane, so he can actually try and be a little bit more abusive to Xaxus and maybe try and volley and send him back. Shook comes in the mid lane, tries to go towards Overpower, doesn't quite get the lock on around him, and didn't really have the damage to follow through. Took a few too many tower hits. Bubble landing on towards Sullivan, followed by a Zenith Blade from Vander going in towards it. The AD carries the trade him, and Nif is going down. First blood will come in. No! He gets the heal back on himself. Meanwhile, back at the AD carries. Taps on towards Vander. Sullivan taken low as well. Back and forth action, but still nobody going down between the two teams.
So we started all in here for ROCCAT onto Nif. He managed to actually get away and instead Taps just stood there, did damage to Celebar, switch over to Vander, but a lot of fights here early on. Mid lane, flash is gone now from Overpower because Shook came in. Top lane, of course, Wicked without the flash, but then bottom lane here, both supports used every summoner.
So it's almost seeing the SOAS build coming out of Overpower on that Lulu. You can see triple Doran's Blade. Meanwhile, Shook actually just taking down the large golem off the side, maybe looking to come down towards his bottom. There's no ward in this tri-bush, so I believe he's got in unseen so far. It's all about the Aqua Prism from Nif now. Can he land it? Doesn't look like it.
No, you actually see him put the E onto himself, want to auto take onto Vander, slow him, then land the bubble, but he was very close to the tower. He knows, okay, I have no flash at the moment, I need to be careful. Nif needs to be the same though.
Shook is waiting a long time in this bush. Now he's going to step away. Now he's going to get spotted by the ward, and actually Jankos coming around here may try and go for a gank of himself because Alliance don't actually have any vision in that river area. It seems he will both step away. Past, of course, the golems realize that there could have been Shook nearby, so they're not going to risk it.
So mid lane matchup again. We just talked about the triple Dawn's ring onto Overpower here. It should mean he's going in for Morello Normicon. Athene's, of course, was nerfed a bit here in 4.10. Less magic resist, 15 removed, and also some of the mana region is gone. Therefore, Morello Normicon is a great option. It's cheaper, it gives more AP as well, and as long as you have the Dawn's rings, you should be able to sustain yourself. Rogan on Orianna will need all the mana region from Athene's, therefore he will go towards
Wicked playing a little different on Xaxus there. Took a few too many tower stuns and hits there. Not too sure what the plan was, trying to bait him into something, I'm not sure what, but he did have the level advantage. However, this mid lane pair, Froggen, of course, on Orianna, up against a Lulu for Overpower. It's not a matchup we've seen for a while, honestly. Of course, this is going back to Toys when he used to play Orianna in the Season 2 World Championships. Froggen how do we see this balance in this mid lane? Because, well, I mean, both of them kind of need to get a lot of farm, but Overpower kind of on Lulu is a bit of a lane bully.
Well, the thing is, she was a lane bully until it changes to her Q, where she couldn't get double Q onto her target any longer. Therefore, she actually now is more of a, I need to just farm as much as possible in my lane and get to team fights where I'm very, very strong. Orianna, she's good in laning phase, therefore it is expected for Froggen to be slightly ahead in CS, and it's basically what we're seeing here. He's just farming pretty well, and Overpower trying to do his best of just picking up as much farm as possible.
We'll see how that one develops. Top laners have backed away, and well, I'd say Zaza's backed away and got himself a build towards the phase, got himself the second Doran's in there as well. You can see Wicked's going the same route, so it looks like a potential Triforce opener for both of these top laners rather than a Blade of Rune King for Zazas.
So it's smart enough to go straight into Triforce, especially for Aurelia. We often see it again here. Jax, I mean, if you go Blade of Rune King first, on 4.9, you had a lot more sustain, but now with the Trinity Force for him, he's gonna try and be able to duel Wicked for as long as possible. And again, he wants to just farm up, he wants to complete the Blade after the Trinity Force, and then just become this monster in one-on-one split push, where Wicked, of course, might look to build more tanky after the Trinity Force and focus on team fights where Aurelia is stronger than Jax.
Blue buff pickup for Overpower, blue buff spawning for Alliance, and we'll see Froggen step off to the side in a moment. It doesn't look like anyone's going to try and interrupt that play either. So he's going to head over there. Both AD carriers, actually Sullivan did back off and get himself a second Doran's Blade, but it hasn't built into a major item just yet. They're both storing up their gold. I can tell you it's 2,200 gold stacked out on tabs right now, 1,600 for Sullivan. So it seems, unless there's going to be a quick change to Blade of the Rune King, that actually tabs might go for Infinity Edge as well.
Yeah, looks like it for now. Otherwise, he would have preferred to come back earlier, picked up a Cutlass here and trying to bully Selva a little bit. But of course, just waiting in the lane is not necessarily bad for him. If he can farm enough to actually get the Blade of the Rune King, it's going to be great because it's cheaper than the Infinity Edge. And he's going to have this time now until Infinity Edge will be completed on Selva, where he's a lot stronger in one-on-ones. But we need to see what happens once they actually go back. And both junglers once again, Jankos once again, moving towards this bot lane here.
Well, they've got Pink Ward in that bush, so they have clear vision. Jankos knows that he's safe, but it seems that with that wave push right up, they're not going to be coming out of that tower zone anytime soon. Jankos just deliberating and wasting a little bit of time in that bush right now. Now they're going to step forward, but look at that. They're already pinging it. They're saying, pretty sure someone's here.
Overpower moving towards this top lane. There was a pink ward from ROCCAT, so he wasn't spotted. I even used the sweeper lanes in the bush to see if there's any wards in this river point here. So all the way up to this top lane. Might want to dive onto Wicked.
It's tricky to
He's
die.
full HP though, yeah.
Oh, Aurelia, and you can see he's already put a good turnaround of damage onto Zazas. That immediately was Overpower. I was like, nope, no chance. Backing away. My tower's also being pressured. You can see the
it's a bit of a weird move.
Wave had been pushed in by Froggen. It didn't. Well, unless he loses CS in that mid lane, he didn't lose too much by making that move and making potential play.
True, so he lost a little bit here, but still diving a full HP Aurelia, even without your jungler. Oh, Vander going in!
This has been a long, hard-waited battle for Nif. Will catch on towards him. He's going to go down. First blood will come in from Jankos. They made it count, but Jankos was there for a full minute.
He was waiting around for a long time. He even moved away a little bit, then moved back to this lane here, just waiting to set up a kill. And Shook has actually just been farming. He was running from base, but just way too late, so they could pick up the kill here. Jankos also getting the first blood.
Well, it was a ulti used. That's going to be the solar flare down. Selavar getting caught out. Shook goes in for this one. What in the hell was that? Teleport being used by Wicked, but that was crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That's just about sums it up. Now Jankos may be in trouble. Wicked jumps on towards him, has got that sheen completed. It does stop the dragon for now. That is about all I can say about it.
Did stop the dragon. Wicked did use the teleport, didn't actually cancel it in the very end. So yeah, I guess worth it for Shook to actually stop the dragon by sacrificing himself. Unless, of course, ROCCAT can just pick up the dragon later on, and then it would just been a free kill over to ROCCAT.
Well, I mean, unless he was just like, yeah, I'll come and I'll teleport in. And then
it was
Shook maybe went in.
It was always the plan.
There's nothing for me to teleport. You need to put a ward down. I can't jump onto nothing.
Froggen was moving from the mid lane. Nif was moving from the bot lane once he actually jumped in, and then they waited for teleport here. But as you just said, there was no ward for Wicked to teleport to, so he came in too late. Had to put down the ward instantly. Wicked had started teleport instantly. Could have potentially set up a kill or two, and maybe the dragon, which probably was the idea for Alliance.
Well, speaking of dragon, it's a fairly delayed one. We saw some fast ones yesterday. At the moment, though, 12 minutes in, and with the teleport down for Wicked, this would be a fine time for ROCCAT to start this one out because Zazas has his teleport. There is a ward, there is vision for Alliance, but I'm not sure ROCCAT can go for it just Again, Zenith Blade not catching.
You also see the position from Sasus. He actually moved all the way down here to his own tower, waiting to see, am I going to teleport in? For now, he's just going to go back because they actually stopped the dragon again. Alliance staying around. Tabs can quickly join in from this bottom lane, Frog the same. And Wicked actually moving from this top lane now because there's no teleport.
He's going to get spotted. He sees the wards. They know he's going for it. But Solar Flare catches on Shook once again. Aqua Prison locks him up. The jungler goes down. That's the dragon for ROCCAT.
And it's such a good comp they're using here, ROCCAT. They have Vander starting the fights every single time. Jankos then follows up with Cocoon. You have a lot of CC, and you just kill the first target you can actually land. And now on to Nif.
Oh, Nif got out now. Pulls out the wave. Both lands the Aqua Prison, but you can see Overpower catching on towards him. There's enough damage there. They're going to try and turn this fight back around. Now Froggen's getting focused on. The Cocoon does not land from Jankos. Shockwave pulls him in. Not enough damage. Ace in the hole comes out from Russelva. And again, they force him away. But still, the dragon is not taken
still
yet.
Alive. Yeah, Alliance, they keep going in to try and stop ROCCAT and Vander every single time. He's the guy engaging onto them. You see here, 1 kill and also picked up multiple assists. He's been part of every kill so far. Always him going in, landing the CC, followed up by the rest of ROCCAT, and they get another kill here. And Alliance, every time they spread out, they just get punished.
Well, the delay on that Blade of the Rune King from Tabs has finally come through. Good culling coming out, actually putting a lot of damage back down on towards Sullivan. Sullivan himself going for that Infinity Edge, of course, as you would do on Caitlyn. We'll see who has the stronger power right now. You can see Tabs, of course, bullying Sullivan out of lane.
Yeah, so Tabs should be stronger now, and if he decides to go Ghost Blade as the second item, then he's going to have some minutes where he's a lot stronger than Caitlyn in fights until Caitlyn completes a static shift or Phantom Dance and can start doing some damage back here. But also up in this top lane, both of them trading, but they're farming very equal.
Well, Wicked's ultimate is up any second now, so he will be able to clear out that entire wave, no problem. That's just come off cooldown, but again, now the Alliance are moving in, and ROCCAT are way too late to respond to this one. Teleport coming in. Zazas is going to join the party, but that dragon has gone down already. Can they try and turn it into kills? Shook tries to get away, safeguards out, he's going to get locked in, so it's 1 kill down. Now Niv in trouble. He's trying to get it out of the danger, but he's going to get taken down. 1 more hit should do it. Sullivan closes that out. It's 2 kills for a dragon.
And now Zazas needs to get back to this top lane here. Wicked is pushing. No teleport, of course. He stayed in this top lane. Blue buff should go over to ROCCAT and got 2 kills. Alliance, though, managed to pick up the dragon.
Well, that tower doesn't look like it's going to go down anytime soon, so that will stand its ground for now. There is a wave of minions coming in. Zazas should be back in time to defend it. So in terms of gold, you can see it's still fairly even, despite the fact it's 6-0 to ROCCAT. This tower's going down in the bottom lane.
And the big difference is really in the mid lane here. 67 CS onto Frog, and now on up to 170. Really farming well, destroying actually Overpower in terms of farm, and therefore also keeping the gold fairly even, and also with the dragon to line. Now tower went down, ROCCAT picked up some gold.
So cast your mind back to the last time these teams played. 20 minutes in, ROCCAT had a fine advantage. They were 4-0 in that game as well, and also had taken the dragon. They had good map coverage, but they went a little too deep, a little too aggressive, and it backfired on them. So they have to really keep that in their mind right now. And as you mentioned, in his mid lane, Froggen is being fairly quiet. That's all he's got to do. He's got his Athenes already. He's just farming up right now to make sure he gets that power spike. Overpower, by the way, he's gone towards an initially large rod, so maybe despite the fact, because of course he got them kills, he decided to change his build. Morello Nomicon not getting picked up. Shockwave pulls him in. The Aqua Prison does manage to land. Overpower goes down. Shock comes in, and it's a kill for Froggen.
Yeah, kill for Froggen here. Really, really good for Alliance at least. Overpower just staying fairly confident in the lane, keeps pushing it up, keeps clearing the wave and go towards the tower. This time around he got punished because the rest of Alliance were there. And yeah, he picked up the death cap early on. Got some farm, he got some early kills, and therefore he could actually go straight towards it. Or he could just be because he doesn't feel like he needs the mana regen yet, and therefore just went straight for death cap. Because I actually do believe he picked up the large rod some time ago, maybe even before he picked up any kills.
Interesting between the top laner and jungler there, Wicked and Shook. They went both to the columns there, despite the fact they're level 11. Either of them could have probably soloed that one, no problem at all. Shared the gold, shared the experience. So is that Wicked in the top lane saying, if you want me to keep up with Zazas, you're going to need to give me a little bit of gold?
Could definitely be. I mean, he wants to complete the 24s. If he completes it now, it could be the reason he just... Yeah. So he just needs a little bit of gold, gets the 24s, instant teleports back to lane, just denies the cannon minion as well, and will jump him.
He knows he has this slight advantage. He's got that 24s complete, wants to put some pressure back down on, and you can see that Blade Shard's taking half the hit points off Zazas. Zazas himself will back away. I think...
He can't bite yet. He needs more.
He's just too short. He's too short. He can't get the Triforce
going
coming back.
towards the jungle here. He just needs 200 gold or something more before he can actually complete the 24s.
See if Larry White can give him enough gold to take him back. He's going to take that one down off the side there. So, first kill for Alliance was on Overpower. We'll see whether they can continue that one. Zaz is already he's showing he actually can't go back yet. He doesn't want to go back before that Triforce is ready.
And also his teleport isn't ready yet. Remember, 40 seconds longer cooldown on teleport here in 4.10. So if he wants to wait for the teleport, he has to stay in lane for quite a while before he can actually go back, buy his item and teleport back to lane. Otherwise he's forced to run the entire way back.
Wicked is holding that lane now, making sure he knows that potentially Zazas is nearby. Shook clearing out the wards. Immediately Vander gets replacing ward straight on there, gets himself a red buff.
Look here, ROCCAT is sending Jankos up to help Zazas get the needed farm. Otherwise he will be zoned away by Wicked because he has the Trinity Force completed. So Jankos now has to go up, babysit Zazas, maybe try and pick up a kill onto Wicked, and then you can get Trinity Force onto Jax.
Wicked's actually showing some signs of aggression, and Gain puts a good hit down on Zazas there. Quickly gets the stun down on him. Gets caught with a counter strike, but it wasn't followed up. Sidesteps that cocoon, and ROCCAT are not going to get themselves a kill here unless they go way too deep and overextend onto the tower. They're just about on the borderline of that tower range.
Just want to push the wave out here. Overpower won't be able to come up and help them because he's in this mid lane. Froggen putting a lot of pressure, so we'll pick up the tower. Very good move by ROCCAT, and also getting the Trinity Force, of course, onto Zazas. But Alliance responding. Shook is in the bot lane instead, taking the tower.
Taking the mid tower and the bottom tower at the same time. Alliance knocking 2 down with 1 stone. So let's have a quick look through the items. As you can see, Wicked holding out ROCCAT. I don't think they're going to push much further. If they do, they're in trouble because Froggen was making his way up there. He's going to clear up the raids instead. Alliance in the bottom lane. They're still pushing. They know they have a 3-on-2 numbers advantage.
Yeah, and they knew there would be quite some time before Jankos could even join in case a fight would happen, and also Froggen with all the pressure in his mid lane, so Overpower couldn't join either. So we do see now Infinity Edge completed for Celavar, but we do see Taps going towards the Ghost Blade, so he's really looking to be very strong here in this mid game point and trying to punish Celavar for going this slower build, which of course you have to do on Caitlyn, where you want to get to late game points and then you become really strong.
Well, speaking of slower game punishment, Froggen is currently 2 levels ahead of Overpower. Overpower went for that death cap. You can see death cap's almost complete. There it is.
Yeah.
Now complete.
So far ahead.
And he's got the Athenes and the Mercury Treads. And you look at Overpower, triple Dorans in a single blade. He is struggling right now. He's got 1,200 gold on him, but he's hurting and he's falling way behind. 240 to 160 CS. Big difference.
And that's of course one of the issues about stacking Doran's rings for mana regen, because again, it doesn't count as a full item in that case. And you're gonna have to sell it in late game anyway. Froggen doesn't. He already has Athenes and death cap. Shook going in though.
Good blue steel coming out from ROCCAT, but you can see Overpower having to use his ultimate to save his life against Shook. They do take the tower down, gives them an advantage. Dragon up in 15 seconds. Are they going to stick around? It looks like they're already backing away. They don't have the timer, remember, because Alliance took it down last time.
And Overpower's recalling now, so you won't be able to join in for the fight. Alliance already here with Wicked as well. Can just go straight for the Dragon with 5 members. Top tower even went down to the minions now. And Overpower, he needs to hurry if he wants to join in for a fight here.
Well, he's got that speed boost that he gets from Lulu. We'll see whether it works out for him. You can see Wicked already in there. There's going to be I can never remember the damn name of it.
Scrying Orb.
The Scrying Orb coming out from Celavar. It does give them vision. They have the timer, but Shook secures the second Dragon for Alliance.
But because Shook went into Overpower, he actually kicked him into the tower again, so he took a lot of damage, forced him to recall. Free Dragon for Alliance. He didn't stay, and therefore Alliance will pull advantage of it. Getting slightly ahead in gold now, and still, the big thing, it is in this mid lane here, almost 100 CS ahead.
And that works out. So blue buff is completely taken away from Froggen now, because if you saw Jankos had stolen away before, Overpower secures his own. So that's a problem. Shockwave off cooldown, it's a big deal. We'll see how it works out for them. Bottom lane pushing in. Tabs is going to follow that wave in with Ghost Blade. Now completed, culling through there, and Celavar himself is chasing on towards it. He's got the start of potentially either a Phantom Dancer or a Static Shift.
Yeah, and if you sit at home now and wonder, Ghost Blade, on a range champion, what's going on here? I wasn't used to seeing it. 4.10 is now 6 seconds for range to active. You get 40% attack speed, 20% movement speed, so you can kite easily, and you also do a lot more damage. At the same time, you get 10% CDR from the item itself, which is very good for an AD carry, and something you normally don't get. You also get 20 armor penetration. Of course, you get some crit, you get some attack damage. Overall, it gives all the stats you want as an AD carry. It's fairly cheap early on, and it synergizes really well with your Player's Rune King, which is now 8% current health you do on the passive every time you hit. So the more attack speed, the more damage you're of course going to do. And on Lucian, it's now all about dashing forward, get your double tap with your passive as many times as possible. It's no longer just about your abilities doing damage, which it was with the old Bloodthirster build early on from Lucian. It's now more about the auto attacks. And as long as you can get everything off in the 6 seconds he activates the Ghost Blade, he's going to do so much damage. Also, the calling, of course, is affected by attack speed, so if you use it while the Ghost Blade is up, you're going to hit even more. Or hit more callings, I guess.
Alliance are making strides to make sure they took away all of the vision ROCCAT had placed in and around the Baron area river. They're actually putting a lot of vision in and around that Baron, so we'll see how that goes out. Tab's got to be careful. He's going to go on towards Xazas, but he fancies this one. Counter-Strike will block those basic attacks from Tabs, but you can see Xazas, he does not want this fight. He's got no vision, does not know what's nearby. Probably expecting Aurelia to pop out, but now he sees Wicked in the bot lane.
Nif was nearby to join in as well for Tabs here in case he needed it, so wisely enough by Xazas backing away. Just look at this goal difference. Froggen been ahead the entire time now. Almost 2,000 goals ahead.
Yeah, dominating that mid lane battle right now between the two. Alliance in 3 members against ROCCAT. 3 members, Overpower going aggressive. Nif was singled out there. Didn't choose to capitalize on it. It does give them an advantage to push the mid lane turret though. They could try and get some tactical positioning. Shook is going to come around and try and block them away.
And we do see Wicked also on Aurelia, deciding to go tank now after 24. So going to focus more on team fighting. If you build a second damage item, you could focus on trying to split push, but you don't really want to one-on-one the Jax. We keep talking about it. So he's going to build tank, go towards the team fight instead, get the ball on from Froggen and just jump into the back line, use the ulti from Froggen, and you have an insane engage combo already, followed up by Nami, hitting 1 or 2 members with the bubble or tidal wave, and you have some good CC, some good damage from Alliance in these team fights. And we need to see if they want to start forcing something, because Selva at the moment, he's just farming up here. Now he completed Static Shift and Infinity Edge, so that's his power spike, and now he just needs to scale up into late game. He needs, of course, the Last Whisper. Might go towards something like a Bloodthirster if he wants the shield here in late game. We're going to see what he actually wants to build. But still, this is the time where Alliance with Lucian should be able to punish ROCCAT a little bit, or at least punish Silver in one-on-ones.
Well, the 2 side laners, Wicked and Xazas, are playing a game of cat and mouse. One pushes the top, splits across, pushes the bottom, and they're doing vice versa constantly. At the moment, no, they are keeping each other guessing. Let's talk about supports though, because we were mentioning this yesterday, how supports now have, again, yet another itemization change because the Mikhails is now a lot more expensive, and you can see Aegis Legion being picked up by Nif.
So I would still say Mikhails is worth it on champion like Nami, where the cooldown reduction actually works really well. Still, it's a lot more gold. It's 850 extra gold, I believe, to complete the Mikhails, which is a lot for support, and why you still see it sometimes, but then they delay some other items. And it seems for now Nif doesn't want to build the Mikhails, even though he's against a Leona and Elise, where it would be very helpful. Even a Jax, to be honest.
Yeah, it would make complete sense, but not going to go that route. We'll see how it develops as these item builds keep on stacking out. 25 minutes gone in this game. Still very tight between the two. You can see the gold advantage is mainly just between the 2 mid laners, Froggen and Overpower. Pressure on, Cocoon lands on Nif, not going to get followed up. That spider will skitter its way through. There was a wave pushed up on towards the mid lane. Tabs is going to try and get the remnants of that, cleaning himself up around about 50 gold. As it stands, Dragon's up in 52 minutes time. This is going to be a long posture over a simple Dragon.
Yeah, and both teams really showed they're just waiting for this Dragon fight. I mean, nothing happened the last few minutes. They've just been waiting around for the timer here, farming the lanes, completing some very important items. I mean, Froggen now with Void Staff, he's a whole item ahead of Overpower at the moment here. It's going to mean a lot in team fights, unless ROCCAT manages to land all the CC onto Froggen and kill him instantly, so he won't be able to do anything. Otherwise, he's going to do so much damage. But and even Wicked now.
What I would say from Alliance's point of view is that the build-up to this last 20-30 seconds, they've been off at the sides farming both middle, top, and bottom lanes, whereas Xazas was only pushing the top, whereas all 4 members from ROCCAT, they were defending that middle ground. They were trying to hold the Dragon area.
And you can see it as well. Selva was slightly behind in CS, of course. Overpower been behind pretty much the entire game, but also Xazas now. They were even in CS earlier. Now, falling slightly behind because Alliance are better at finding farm around the map here and also pressuring other lanes while someone is farming. And now they're moving towards the Dragon. It is up. Selva down this bottom lane here. He should really be with his team. Shouldn't be split up now.
Overpower trying to get around the back there. He thought he'd singled out Tabs. Instead, it's going to be Jankos taking the first bit of poke. Pinkwood will get cleared out by Alliance as they keep the vision away. They've got to be careful. ROCCAT could turn in towards that middle turret. That's exactly what they're doing.
Smart.
They're going to go rush in there. Sullivan's going to get caught out though. Wicked jumping on towards him. He's not getting out of that one alive. And he goes down. The Dragon's going to get picked up by Alliance. And now they're rushing towards their mid lane. The middle turret, inner turret goes down though. ROCCAT now they need to make the escape.
And this was a mistake by Selva, but still we need to see what happens here. A lot of members from ROCCAT trying to just recall. Alliance, they give up, don't want to chase. Instead, Are they moving towards Baron?
They're going for Baron instead. They're going to force. They know the ROCCAT are backing away, desperately out of position. It's a recall from Zazas. He's got teleport available. Overpower now realizing something is up. They are not visible. Overpower's going to run in. He's got a ward I think he can throw in towards that pit area. But look at this Baron. It's going down so quickly. There's going to be the solar flare catching on towards him. It doesn't matter. Alliance have secured that Baron. Quick wave comes out, catches Jankos. Shook should be able to follow that one through, kicks him in back to his team. And Alliance are just on cleanup duty right now.
So 1 kill onto Celabar here from Alliance, and then ROCCAT, they tried to escape. They ran into the jungle of Alliance. They started recalling, and Alliance were like, we're not going to chase. We're just going to go straight towards Baron. ROCCAT completely out of position. That's a Baron, Dragon, and now also mid tower.
Last time they fought, it was a 20-minute mistake. This time they made it to 25 minutes. And a tactical error. Alliance just catch them out of position. And the inhibitor turret now will fall down. Vander goes in, Zenith Blade, they don't care. They're still hitting the turret. Now Shook's in low trouble. He's going to get taken low. Zazas is going to get caught out. He gets dropped down. Froggen picks himself up a kill off the side. And the inhibitor it goes down. Now Overpower. He's juking. Wicked jumping all over him. Having to use everything he can to escape this one. He's going to get stun locked up there. The ultimate from Wicked going to catch him low. Is it quite enough? One more tick. Froggen comes in. He's going to secure the kill. Vander's on there now. Vander's taking low. Froggen gets on towards him. Tabs picks himself up a kill. They're going to ace the ROCCAT right here, right now. They take him down. He repels. He's got nowhere to go. It's a double for Tabs. And just like that, Alliance turn on the juice and take down an inhib.
And Alliance took full advantage of the fact their mid-game is so strong with this comp here. Jack still needs time. Caitlyn still needs time to build up. And Alliance, they were ready to teamfight. They're really so good in the mid-game. The Blade of the Rune King and Ghostblade build for Tabs on Lucian here as well. So they were so much stronger in these mid-game fights. And also, mistakes from ROCCAT.
Well, they're going for a Nexus turret. They're going to get one down. Can they get the second? The rest of ROCCAT are only just respawning. You can see Zazas trying to stop this one. Tabs is continuing to hit on that turret. It's almost taken down. It looks like they're going to get away from this one. Zazas taking low. There's the second Nexus turret. They can try and finish the game right here. They're going to back away. Cullen. Solar Flare lands onto Tabs. Ace and a hole blocked off. Shook jumps in front of it. And Alliance will disengage and take themselves almost everything from the base. Can they turn it around? There's the wave's going to stop them. Vander gets locked up by a Aqua Prison. And Jankos, he may gotta be careful. He could get kicked into Alliance here.
There was ulti on Shook. He decided not to go for it. Alliance back away. So both Nexus towers are now gone. Mid inhibitor as well. It's been some crazy 5 minutes for Alliance, picking up pretty much everything on the map they could actually get. And just looking so strong. I mean, now they can buy us. Look here, there was almost 4,000 gold on Froggen. Look, he doesn't even need money anymore. He's so rich. They can just buy items, move down, force a team fight, and go straight towards the Nexus if they want.
Alliance's decision making is so crisp, it seems right now. A little bit of a high five between Froggen and Tabs there.
Shook all alone. The rest of the members coming out towards him will try and take the red buff. We'll get it. Jump out here. But everything actually starts around the Dragon, where ROCCAT, they were split up. Celabar was down this bot lane pushing by himself. The rest of the members were around the mid lane. So once Celabar actually moved up to join his team, Wicked just found him. Now Celabar needs to be careful as well.
You can see Nif's going to try and speed on towards him. He will back away there. Dangerous game as he was just strolling up blindly in towards all 5 members of Alliance who now make their way along this bottom lane. What a turnaround this game has been. ROCCAT, as we mentioned, they had a good start.
Yeah.
It really was only Froggen that had a big lead over them. But just one little error has caught them out. And again, Jankos, he's repelled. He's got nowhere to fall this time around. He's going to drop straight in there. You can see Shook's gone deep on this one. Maybe a little too deep. Zazas is going to catch on towards him. Tower hits on Shook still, which means the rest of the team are going unhindered under that tower. You can see Froggen comes in, pulls a shockwave, pulls them straight back in. Vander does not go down. Wicked dives on towards him. There's going to be one. There's two. Celabar going down. Zazas going to get right the wave on towards it. And they just move on in. It's a double for Froggen as he collects some points. The Aqua Prison bouncing Jankos in the air. And the Nexus will fall down. Alliance continue their win streak in the top. They want to get that point. And Wicked dives on the fountain and secures the kill on Overpower. Fantastic performance by Alliance once again. They are now 12-2 at the top of the table.
So a bit of a slow start from Alliance, just farming in the lanes here, waiting till they got a few items before they even wanted to start team fighting. And then just one mistake by ROCCAT, Celabar out of position, Alliance kills him. And from there, it was just a series of mistakes from ROCCAT, giving up the Baron for free, even though there was 4 members still alive from ROCCAT here. And then Alliance is pushing down towards this mid lane here, winning another team fight, getting both Nexus towers, going back here, just picked up so much gold. And then the last fight, it was just a matter of time before they would win.
Well, I said at the start of the game, I don't remember the last time I saw Orianna for Frog, and it's been a while ago, that's for sure, but 6-0-6 performance, nearly 100 CS ahead of Overpower towards the end of that. Fantastic once again, pulls out yet another champion, and we talk.
Thank you very much, D-Man. I'm Eva Shock supporter, as you said, joined here by Nif for some words of wisdom. Let's start at the beginning of the game. At any point did you panic when you were down actually 6 kills, or did it all stay calm?
Yeah, it was pretty frustrating. The matchup was really bad for our favor on bot lane, so if you give up the first kill, it would just snowball pretty hard. But we kept in the game farming really well, and Frog did a really good job as well with getting all the camps. And I think we weren't that far behind, and we said it as well that we could fight for it. And then we got a good pick on the Lulu, and that kept us back in the game because we could get the first strike for that, and then the next one, and we just could snowball. And then we have a really, really strong team fight with that comp.
So at what point do you decide, now we can go back and now we can go all in? Is it a certain someone getting a certain item? Is it a certain thing that happens? Or when do you decide, okay, we got this now?
It's a mix of both. If you pick someone like the Lulu, then you know, okay, we are stronger. Or when you finish certain items like the death cap on Orianna, it's like a huge power spike. And then you know you're just stronger than the enemies.
All right, now 12-2 Alliance, and in all the recent patches, actually, you seem to have found your form. What for you stands out about this patch for support? What's your favorite change?
You could actually see that it changed a lot, and you see that healing supports might come back, but then on the other side, you have like hard counters like Leona with Ignite. When they kill you once, you die. So if you manage to survive it, then it's actually cool, and maybe Sona will come back, one of my favorite champions.
All right, well, maybe she will. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And we're going to leave Summoner's Rift behind us for just a second, but when we come back, we're going to break down this game, and SK takes on Millennium. Don't go anywhere.